Vampire Lovers, 1970. The naked truth behind the classic Hammer film.
Come with us if you dare into a twilight world of unspeakable horror, the deadly passion of the vampire lovers.
Greetings, fiends. It's your old pal Horror Mike, and today we're uncovering the naked truth behind the Vampire Lovers from 1970, directed by Roy Ward Baker, starring Ingrid Pitt, Pippa Steele, Madeline Smith, and Peter Cushing. Vampire Lovers plot. Seductive vampire Camilla Carstein and her family target the beautiful and the rich in a remote area of late 18th century Germany. Hammer Vampire Trilogy. Vampire Lovers is part of the Hammer Films and Tudor Gates Carstein trilogy of vampire movies, adapted from Sheridan Le Fanu's novel, Carmilla. The other two titles are Lust for a Vampire from 1971 and Twins of Evil, also from 1971. A nude beginning for Hammer Films. Vampire Lovers was a landmark for Hammer Films as it was the first of their horror films to contain nudity, due mostly to an insistence by new U.S. distributor partner American International Pictures. It also featured the first female vampire who fancied women. Due to these new directions, it ended up being the first Hammer film to receive an R rating in the U.S., and it became a huge hit. Ingrid Pitt on nudity. During an interview, Ingrid Pitt was asked if she was reluctant at all about her extensive nudity in this film. She replied, quote, "I don't know about reluctant. I didn't think there was anything gross or indecent about what we were doing. I think Maddie Smith was probably a little more apprehensive than I was, but I must salute director Roy Ward Baker. He gave us a closed set and treated it all as the most natural thing in the world. I do get people who seem embarrassed when they buy nude photographs of me. They're very apologetic. I'm not sure why. It doesn't bother me. In fact, I'm quite proud of the young bod. Something to show your grandchildren and remind them that grandma wasn't always an old bag," unquote. She added that, quote, "There are extra perks in appearing nude on screen. Everybody gets very solicitous. In the bath scene, the crew kept checking that the water is the right temperature. Are the lights too bright? Are you comfortable with the people on set? Would you like a cognac? They are all terrified that you're going to throw a wobbly and walk off," unquote. Ingrid Pitt on her risque scenes with Madeline Smith. Ingrid Pitt said in a 2009 column, quote, "When it came to the nude scenes, the director asked Madeline Smith and me if we wanted a closed set. It didn't bother me one way or another because I've always been a bit of an exhibitionist, so I had no problem letting people see me naked. Maddie Smith, being very British, was a little more nervous about prancing around in the nude. So we had a closed set. Producers Harry Fine and Michael Stile were a bit peeved about this because they were barred from the set too. They thought it was the producers' perks to watch what was going on. Then one day I was walking to the set wearing just a dressing gown with nothing on underneath when I saw them coming in the opposite direction wearing a doleful look. As I went past them, I opened my dressing gown and said, 'Whee!' There was a spring in their step and they went on their way," unquote. You can only exploit yourself. In an interview published in 2013, Ingrid Pitt was asked if she thought she and the other female actors were exploited in The Vampire Lovers, since it had so much nudity. She said, quote, "How can you be exploited if you know what you are doing? You have the opportunity of backing out and are getting paid to do the job. I had a good body and no inhibitions about flaunting it. There was nobody off camera pointing a gun at my head." Unquote. Bond girl gets the boot. James Carreras rejected a suggestion that Bond girl Shirley Eaton play the lead role on the grounds that she was too old. Ingrid Pitt, only 10 months younger than Eaton, was eventually cast. Fangs for the memories. While filming, Ingrid Pitt and the girls had a great deal of trouble getting through scenes without giggling. In the scene where Ingrid is sucking blood from Kate O'Mara, her vampire teeth kept falling out into Kate's cleavage. She eventually had to steal some gum from one of the stagehands to stick the fangs back in. Girls just want to suck blood. In her last interview, published in 2013, Ingrid Pitt was asked why she thought the lesbian vampire is such a potent horror icon. She said, quote, "When I made The Vampire Lovers, it really didn't strike me that it was a lesbian-based story. I thought it was just about a couple of nubile girls in a grand house on a hot Styrian summer, with nothing to do but play with each other. As far as I remember, both the victims had a boyfriend. The same one, I think. It was just bad luck on him that their house guest turned out to be a rapacious female vampire. When a man plays the vampire, it's usually a matter of moving in on his victim, a pretty young girl, and wham bam, thank you ma'am. Female vampires are expected to wear the minimum of clothing and make sure that they catch the backlighting as much as possible. What they do wear must fall around them to reveal maximum flesh when they get down to business." Unquote. Director Roy Ward Baker claimed that after reading the novel Carmilla twice, he didn't get a sense of any lesbian content. Ingrid Pitt also claimed she didn't play the role as though the vampire was a lesbian, but rather asexual. Sapphic panic. Before production, the script was sent to Chief Censor John Trevelyan, who warned the studio about depictions of lesbianism. They specifically wanted the scene of Kate O'Mara being seduced by Ingrid Pitt removed. They also pointed out that a previous lesbian film, The Killing of Sister George from 1968, had 5 minutes excised by his office. In response, Hammer replied that the lesbianism was not of their doing, but was present in the original story by Le Fanu. Trevelyan finally backed down. The scene where Ingrid Pitt seduces Kate O'Mara is actually much longer, but was edited for the movie. O'Mara wasn't happy with the lovemaking scenes and going semi-nude. They preferred to cut the scene after Ingrid drops her dress and to leave what happens after to the viewer's imagination. I hope you enjoyed this look at The Vampire Lovers. As always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.